Hello guys, how are we doing? Welcome back to the channel. Today is another Help with Harrz where I review subscribers' gameplays to make them better at Black Ops 6 ranked play. Last video we uploaded for Help with Harrz was a diamond ranked gameplay, and a lot of the focus of the video was how what steps they could take to get themselves into Crimson. And we're doing something a little bit similar. In today's video though, we're going to be looking at a Crimson, someone who's peaked at Crimson 3 this game, can't quite seem to get into that Iridescent level, and seeing what bridges they need to gap and what areas they need to work on to get from Crim level of gameplay to Iridescent. I know this gameplay I think was submitted earlier on in the season, so they're still Diamond 3 at the time when this gameplay was recording, but as you can see here, there were Crimson 3 on the season before, so we are reviewing a genuine Crimson player. And there might be some of you who are thinking, guys, I'm not Crimson, this isn't going to help me. That is not correct. This is going to benefit anyone who's looking to improve generally at this game. Perhaps there's some mistakes that this player makes that you might make, whether you're a gold player or diamond player, or even anywhere really. There's a chance that this player will make some mistakes that you make as well, and you can also learn from what they do well in this gameplay as well, which is often how you find ways to improve. So we're going to look through the format as we do normally, look through the gameplay and give 3 pointers, 2 or 3 pointers that we noticed throughout, to hopefully help this player and help some of you get from Crimson to Iridescent. Now, looking at the form here, just a quick run through. They're currently on console. They play on 20 hours a week, so fairly standard amount of time. I think that's similar to however much I play nowadays. Current rank is Diamond 1, well, Diamond 3 at the time in this video, but obviously Crim 3 Season 1 as we've just seen. Their highest rank last year was Crimson 1. So first of all, congrats in improving year on year. That's a massive thumbs up. Good FOV, good sensitivity. They play under control there, and they have a decent setup. That's actually a solid setup for someone who's on Series X or PS5, obviously because it's on 120 frames. What's one thing you would like me to focus on in your gameplay? To be honest, I can't find the thing to improve on to hit Eerie. I try to improve, train 1 or 2 things a day, aim, map awareness, position. I think I die too easy and too much. I mostly find myself getting a lot of KDs at 1 to 1.4s when I match up against Eries or high Crims. The first part of me is not saying there's nothing to be improved on. I just can't seem to get it right just to make that push to Iridescent. My SR is way too low to be on track for Eerie. In your opinion, what else do you struggle with? My aim, it was late for before, but my aim is dog. I train every day for 15-30 minutes, but after a few games, I just go full autopilot playing without a brain. Fine. So let's see what we're going to do. Obviously, as I say, this is the purpose of today's video is to try and improve someone from Crimson to Iridescent. So let's have a look at the gameplay, turn down this awful music, and crack on with the rest of the video. So just taking a look at the leaderboard to start it off, they go 0.97 and they get 25 seconds in hill time and 2 objective kills and 4 captures. So there doesn't seem to be much of a strength in this gameplay that we're able to see, which is the perfect one for this submission. It's a really good gameplay to have. The worse you play, the more mistakes I'm hopefully able to highlight. So let's play it from the start and see what we can find out. So I believe we're watching a sub player here, and this is fine. I don't mind this aggression, trying to get that map control, but there are far better lines of sights that you can try and take on at least Skyline that will enable you to get across the map quicker. The team did get you trade, so that's great. So generally, the logic in you trying to get that map control, first of all, is really good. The only problem is if we rewind to the point where you just died, you can see how long of line of sight that is. If you have an AR who sat back there watching it, and when you get to these high-level gameplays, and when you're in these high-level lobbies, you've just got to assume there's going to be enemy at every angle you check, because that will make you provide safe. You'll be able to maneuver around the map a lot safer that way. So this challenge was brave. Yes, you didn't die to an AR, but it's a line of sight where it's a fairly common push through short. If they had an AR, you're dead. You've lost a gunfight. They pretty much get here before you get to where you were. So they're able to preempt that. So you've got to play that a little bit differently. I prefer to take a slightly different route, maybe around the left, maybe jiggle peek it. You've got a stun and a nade. Maybe just play a little bit more slowly around there. Reserve your life a little bit better. At the end of the day, you're not pushing kitchen to push through kitchen. You're pushing kitchen to get kitchen control, allow your teammates to focus on the hill while you've got cover of the left-hand side of the map. So your main goal isn't to just run through. You've got to make the whole point of you being in kitchen, and you think about this on other maps as well, the whole point of you being in a certain area of a map is to have control of that area. especially at the start of a hill here. If you're hoping to push through, it's a different story, but you need to play it a little bit more methodically, slow it down a little bit. There's head glitches you can use here. When you challenge this left-hand side, there's a little bit more cover for you to use your sub bat. So taking a long line of sight there where you last to the gunfight is always going to be a disadvantage. Just for Skyline specific, a nice route which you can probably do from this side of the map when P1 is active is a run through middle. So you literally just run through middle into gym, cut off any players. Well, when you get to this point, you can probably cut off players running through piano, but this gets you into this zone, which is a really, really important area to be at. You already had a teammate pushing kitchen anyway, so it's not a problem. They can pretty much cover that. But although you might say, well, Harrz, you've just told me that's a long line of sight and not to challenge that because of that, this line of sight is even longer. Not completely true based on the timings they get there. The only way an enemy is able to see you when you're at this point is if they challenge all the way through and take that line of sight as an immediate line of sight. Chance of them doing that is relatively slim. By the time you get to here, they're maximum going to be here at this sort of level. So it enables you to really just push through. You might get picked off from someone who's maybe in kitchen, but even if you push kitchen from there, you can push kitchen like that. It's a lot of a ton of a nicer route than just challenge kitchen through that side. And that sort of logic happens on any map mode combo. The best way to understand the best routes for the sub is to watch gameplays and CDL matches of players who are playing that same role. If you notice you're dying a lot, watch the CDL, pick up a look at someone who plays with the same gun. So if you're a sub player, look at someone who uses the sub on the map. Watch what they do, watch what routes they take, and try them out in ranked play. That's honestly my best advice for someone who's looking to get to that next level into that Iridescent is watch what the pros do, try and mimic what routes they have. We've got to understand when you're in Iridescent or Crimson, you're already at a certain level of gameplay. You mostly can shoot straight. Your movement's going to be good. Your game sense is probably going to be most of the way there. And it's the decisions you make in-game that really make up the difference between Crimson and Iridescent. And the cheesiest way and the cheapest way and the quickest way to get to that level is watch better players and mimic what they do, copy what they do. There's no shame in it. You're improving. So yeah. So pushing through kitchen again. Not bad, not bad. Okay. What intrigues me when you're taking on this gunfight is we decide to push this quite slowly. You sit here and you wait for this gunfight to take place instead of, diving over towards this cover. At the end of the day, you can pretty much hold this exact same line of sight behind cover. The fact that you've slowed down here is fine for a second, then move to cover and then take on that slow engagement. It's fine checking this. But when you're progressing through the map, you've always got to be cautious of the cover. Head glitch to head glitch, cover to cover. That's how you should maneuver the map. And again, knowing how to traverse maps will simply come from watching players better than you. And the best way to do that is by looking at the minimap on a CDL game. That's a big tip. That's a big tip. That's what I do. And that's often how I get a lot of my routes, is just that sort of research. Some of it might not work. At the end of the day, we don't have the raw ability the pros do, but you can try it. Okay, ranked play. Next time you load into, watch a Skyline Hardpoint gameplay, watch what the subs do and what routes they take. Try and mimic that at all times. And then if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. You've tried it. There's a reason the pros do it. So a nice little route there. I just want to commend that. That's a nice route to underground. You've done it early enough so that it's not expected. Your teammate also spawns in as well. I don't mind that whatsoever. You probably could have played that a little bit safer there. So being conscious of where your enemies and your teammates are is absolutely huge. At this point here, I like the fact we're cutting off kitchen. We've understood that's where we need to cut off. Really enjoy that mindset and the fact you've got that awareness there. You get somewhat caught off guard by two players. You manage to kill this player there, or at least do most damage to them. At this point, and this is what really bridges the gap between Crimson players and some Iridescent players, obviously, other than game time, is those split decision moments. At this point, you've just seen your teammate has killed that enemy, you've got the assist. They can also help you out in this gunfight. What you could have done at this position is sat in this corner, wait for the chow, throw a nade at the floor, something like that. I think what's happened here is you've overexposed yourself. But that just happens with game time. Make these mistakes a lot. The more you make the mistakes, the less likely you are to make that same mistake again. In this particular situation, you've got a teammate looking at your right. You know they're there covering you because they've just got, they've given you the assist on that first player. If this were me, throw a nade in this space, sit behind the cover, wait for the enemy to push. They're going to be weak because my teammates got that cross. They're going to be weak because I've naded them. That's the sort of decision making we need to have. And again, that only just comes from repetition. So yeah, we haven't tried to get into cover as much as we should have there. And as you can see, as I say, your teammates traded you anyway. So I like that. We're looking across the map. We're cutting the map, making sure we've got that right-hand side covered. Again, this is really nice awareness, and I like that. I like what you're doing there. I see what you're doing there. That's a hard read. That player there's a little bit of a difficult read. Okay, well, I'm intrigued to what you do here. Great. Now, this is something I see mostly in the higher levels. So this player is clearly a good player. They've gone to piano, and instead of saying, yeah, I'm just going to jump up the piano or go up the zip, they're going, let me see if I can get further in. Let's see if I can obtain more map control. At this point, they can see they've got a teammate pushing the front. They've got a teammate sort of going towards the back, perhaps, and they've got a teammate going up towards piano as well. They don't need to push that same direction necessarily. They can try and pinch. They're going to be distracting the player on time. They're going to be distracting anyone defending the hill. This player's got time to just, maneuver around the map in a slightly different manner. I like what they're doing, just being caught off guard. There's not much you can really do about that. It's a little bit of a tough situation, but yeah, it is what it is. You could have had what you did take a lot. You did take a little longer than I would have expected. I think you'd have died anyway. And as you can see, this player here, but they do blend in considerably, so I'm not going to fault you for that. There's 33 seconds left. Worry about kitchen after. Get the hill time. You've just killed a couple of players. Try and help the hill. Get the kills on the hill, and then you can look down at this level from the top when you have the advantage. Again, you're taking on a gunfight where it's a 50-50 gunfight. Even if there's someone here, even if you don't have a player next to you who kills you, this is a gunfight where you don't necessarily have the advantage. You're not in cover. They probably aren't going to be in cover. It's a coin toss at the end of the day. Assist the hill. Assist the teammates who are trying to get to the hill. At that point, then you can then come back out once you've got that map control around P2. You can come back out to white steps, stand up here and look down. Check if anyone's coming through kitchen. There's 30 seconds left. It doesn't really matter about spawns anymore, because by the time you get this killed, you get the kill, and you get the hill control, there's going to be few seconds left anyway. Yeah, so I'm not going to fault you for that death by this player, but I would have probably approached that situation a little bit differently. I probably would have been a little bit quicker to pinch the objective from that side and then moved on. Okay, quite a late pinch on the objective here. Okay, so there seems to be a little bit of a slow processing of decisions here. And while I don't mind, this pushes, you're pushing for 13 seconds, okay? It's not sensible. I understand why you're doing it, and you could get 10 seconds of scrap time here, which would be great. That kill was a bit scrappy, and you probably should not have prioritized reloading. Okay, you probably would have died anyway. If you're a good player, you're going to kill them in 5 bullets. This gunfight should have been a lot cleaner. So yeah, I understand what you're saying about your accuracy. You did mention that a little bit. Maybe toy with the settings a little bit. I don't know. There's got to be something there that you can try and hopefully work on. But yeah. Okay, so when we are transitioning from P2 for P3, you really need, and when there's such little time left of the objective, you spawn on the good side. Great. Where do I need to pick up? If you look at this is not just Skyline, this is any map. Where are the enemy going to push from P2? If you just think about this logically, I've got 3 players on the new objective. No one's P1. No one's watching their push through under. No one's watching their push through top. Okay, you need to be that player who's sort of trying to watch one of them angles. You get pinched behind, realistically over the top, and you know this just through repetition and playing in these good lobbies. You know that for a fact that coming from P2, which is already on that upper floor, coming across the catwalk, challenging the pinch from top is quite a likely thing to occur. So just picking one of those situations up, sitting back here, just waiting for a pinch, something like that would have been really good there. So again, it's just that. Do you need to join the 3 of your teammates on this objective when chances of them trying to rotate and get the spawns of this from P2 to P3? probably not. You should have probably played for the, created a little bit of space, maybe gone right. Even if you went all the way right towards P1 into bedroom, cut off that area, even if you looked at the vent below, something like that would have been a little bit better than just joining your teammates on the objective. If you're offering no more map control by your positioning than your teammates already currently have. So that's, unfortunately, that player pinch-in has led to the flip. Good trade here. Let's see how we do this. Nice. We're trying to drive this pressure through. I love this. Yeah, you did. I think you did see them if I rewind. Now we know they're in this zone. You've just spawned where you've spawned, and if you guys don't know, I'm assuming this player knows, but if you guys don't know, you spawn here, chances are the enemy is this side. I'm not seeing a stun or a nade in this direction whatsoever, and that would have given you information to be a little bit cautious coming out of this area. But yeah, it's fine. It's not that drastic. Good play from that player though. They've decided to watch that read. Fine. And often when you can't see anyone, when you're pushing through there and you really can't see anyone, a very common spot to sit is at the top. So it's almost worth checking that at some point. And when you get to the iridescent lobbies, that will be something you just naturally do because it's such a common spot. If you can't see someone that way, you may as well look up and check and then move on with your day. But again, that's just due to repetitions. It's repetitions and not only just playing and playing and playing, but learning from that. You've just died from that position. Next time you're pushing up and you don't see anything grass, in your head, you need to be saying, right, I need to look up there. It's game time alone isn't going to get you from Crimson to Iridescent. You need to actively be learning from the mistakes you're making and the patterns you're noticing on the enemy to provide a better gameplay next time you're in. Okay, we're going over the top to rotate to the new objective, which I really don't mind. Good kill. Really big kill. We're focused on, instead of just pushing through to the objective, we're focused on driving a kill towards the enemy who's cutting off the entire map, stopping your entire team from crossing. Good kill. That's not too much of an issue. You've at least been a distraction, enabling your teammates to pick up the kill behind you. You spawned in. Let's see a focus on the new objective. Okay, your teammates just spawned on the right. That tells you the enemy's pushing through kitchen, and you know that's the case anyway because of your teammates just died. Common spot. That's all I'm going to say. Bathtub is a common spot. It's too low to snake at. Good shots. Fine. Okay, you spawned really close. Let's see what we do here. Nice, we're driving it through. You've just seen two enemies above. Good kill. You must have got awful time on that player. Yeah, he's just slid under. That's really unfortunate. I like what you're doing there. You're being aggressive. You're taking the gunfights to them. Fortunately, you've been traded. It is what it is. You've still got the good spawns, but that's nice. That's good gameplay. That's enough of an ability there at that point to get you to Iridescent. That sort of gameplay is fine. Not sure about that bit. You had a lot of pressure, but again, you've got a stun, you've got an A. Let's see them used. Okay, you know where they are. Bathtub's a common spot. You don't really have many teammates backing you up. Use what tools you do have to take on that challenge. Again, we're challenging lines of sights where you do not have the advantage. You know they're on the objective. On ranked play, people love to snake. I avoid this gunfight at all costs, especially if I have a sub. This isn't good. Just take on those smarter decisions. At best, stun nade left, run into bedroom and try and close down that gap. It's really, really hard. When you're spawning on this piano side of the hill, it's really, really hard to be influential with a sub because you're not really trying to aggress because you want to keep those spawns. And whenever you feel lost, if you're here sat thinking, I can't use this up on this hill sucks with an SMG, just put out an AR. There's no shame in doing so. You're not forfeiting your right to be an SMG because you can't use it for a certain hill. I often, even when I'm running an SMG on Skyline, P1 when I'm spawning P2 is frequently one of the hills I pull out an AR on. And the reason for that is the enemies have to come to you. The line of sights to approach the hill are long. and I'm not going to win that most of the time with a sub. Okay, and we've been lucky enough to spawn in. Nice kill. Let's see a nade. Let's see a nade. Fine, I don't mind that either. I don't mind that. That was nice. Okay, we're still spawning out, which is a shame. Again, we're on it. We're at pause there. I get your players have got kills, but you're assuming nobody's top cat. Okay, so someone up there with an AR watching the cross from top, watching the catwalk, you're gone. Okay, this is brave. You don't know, you don't 100% know that nobody's there. And again, valuing your life in that situation would have been beneficial. Just, I know you're on the objective. I know you're only playing for a couple of seconds of hill time. Yeah, the gunfights you are taken on at close range, you're mostly successful in. Yeah, it's just making sure we're picking those gunfights a little bit more carefully. Okay, nice, done to clear that right-hand side. Go with your team. Okay. So I would have probably aggressed my teammates there. You can throw a stun and an aid through the vent. Damage at least the enemies on the objective. You can then push. There's 3 of you literally on this left-hand side. Chances of the enemies, if you think about it, when people are setting up on Skyline, they're going to make sure that someone watching this right, that someone watching the left, there's probably maybe someone blocking, or maybe there's 2 on time. Okay? When you're in a position where all 4 of your team, including yourself obviously, can push an objective in the same manner from almost the same direction, you're going to want to do it, because you can sort of guarantee there's at most, especially on this hill, there's going to be someone sat watching piano, there's going to be someone watching kitchen, okay? There's going to be probably 2 people on the objective. If all 4 of you just bang out the front of the objective, slide, trade, bait for each other, you're going to be way more successful. You, by splitting up with your team, have made it so that 2 people who aren't really influential in this push because they're not on the objective and you could have just pushed the front, you make them influential because you're spreading yourself far too thin as a team, which when attacking an objective, when you have the opportunity to push through and just bully yourself through the objective, we need a little bit more of that. That's how that fell apart. Your teammates didn't get kills, but if you were there being that extra person to be just distraction, or something like that, yeah, you maybe would have broken out. You maybe not. You might not have, but you'd have had a better chance of doing so. We don't need to do this. 12 seconds. Just go new. 12 seconds. Just go new. You don't really want to spawn to P2. By doing this, you're potentially influencing them to spawn behind you. No reason to push it. No reason to push it, and I don't think you challenged it the best way. So you've just spawned back here, which tells you the enemies are the other side, okay? Okay, we're doing fine. We know they're going to spawn back grass because of where you've just seen a shot. Nice kill. Still weak. You could definitely do with slowing it down a little bit. Just because you've got a really maneuverable sub in your hand does not mean you need to be sprinting around 24/7. Something when a lot of sub players, if you watch high level sub gameplay, it's rarely sprint, slide, sprint, slide. A lot of people using the sub will run, not walk in the game. They're not fully tag sprinting. They're sort of running, so they've got like a relatively good pace. But it also means they can aim in really quickly and beam people really quickly. If you watch people who are really good with a sub, they're not doing all this fancy sprinting, slide. They might occasionally do some crazy dives and things like that just to be flashy. But fundamentally, when you're watching them take the regular routes and proceed through the map, you're not going to see them do that so much. So you really just try and slow it down a little bit, especially if the stub is the gun of your choice. Nice stun, trying to cut off the map there. Really enjoy that. Yeah, we're running and we're not anticipating. So I understand that you've got you just killed 2. I understand that you're assuming the enemies are going to be coming from your right through grass. But you need to assume there's going to be enemies everywhere. Okay, you've got teammates watching the right. That's sort of covered for you. You've been caught off guard here. You've gone into a slide. You're full sprinting. It's taking you a little bit longer to pull your gun up, and this has caused a really messy gunfight.
Watch out! Enemy Hellstorm launch. Hardpoint identified.
Again, we're sliding into that gunfight because we got caught sprinting.
Hardpoint is active. Hardpoint locked down.
Okay, that's unfortunate. Could have been a red. Could have been a read. When you know your teammates are pushed all the way through and your teammates just got a kill, you know these parallel spawns open up. Especially when P4 is live, so that maybe could have been red, but I'm not going to criticize you too much for that. Okay, so score-wise, the team's not doing horrendously. That's unlucky. I'm intrigued as to why we've pulled out. Okay, this is when the Cypher was in. Blimey, thank God that's out. And again, we're not anticipating that. Even though we've just seen that gunfight take place, you've just seen your teammate die there. We're not anticipating anyone approaching that head glitch at all. You need to at least be pre-aiming this at this point because you can always guarantee they're there. You've seen them on the map. You've just seen your teammate die literally in that spot. You need to be pre-aiming it. A lot of you are relying heavily on your ability just to absolutely gun people with your reactions rather than preemptively. Okay, someone might be there, let me pre-aim it. Just as you would with an AR, but on hopefully shorter distances. Good read of them going up top though. I don't mind that. Unfortunately, we have been traded, but you are then tradable, I think. Yeah, nice. Or maybe not. Okay, there's 17 seconds left, and you want to keep these spawns because it gives you the better spawns for P2. So we'll see how you play this. I'm hoping you don't push far enough up to influence the spawns negatively. And again, we are just sprinting. We haven't checked any corners there. You haven't thrown a single nade. Yes, chances of them being in the bathroom is strong, but they could be in the shower. They could be in the left. This is what separates the Crimsons, potentially, and maybe some of the ranks lower, to the Iris and though the top 250s and even the top level Crimsons to a certain extent as well. You can't. There could have been in any corner here, and then we've unfortunately lost that gunfight as well. Not fantastic. And again, that's because we're just running it down. We do not want to flip this spawn. Fine, you know the player's there. Play for them out of it. Hold a real short distance cut. That stops them from getting from P4 to P1, but you do not want to be sprinting this objective. You'd be much better off just holding an iron, waiting for an enemy to walk into your iron, and then beaming them. Like that. You preempted that gunfight, and you won that gunfight. Need to see a lot more of that. Yeah, we did know that play was there, but I'm not going to criticize that too much just because there's not much we can learn from it. I'm always sensing your frustration that you're not doing well and you're just trying to overthrow and over-engage in every gunfight. Just try and draw that back a bit. It's just going to cause you to lose and lose and lose and lose. Better. We're preempting, we're reading, we're guessing where they're going to be. I've sensed you've lost full at this point. Your gameplay's shifted up. You're a little bit more clumsy towards the latter half of this gameplay than you were at the beginning. I like the route though. I like the fact we tried to go under. Unfortunately, you got naff timing there. You could have stun checked. You could have nade checked. I haven't seen you use either of those much. Yeah. Nice pre-fire. Yeah, we seem to be panicking a little bit. Which, yeah, we've unfortunately lost the game. Okay, so. Not bad gameplay. Not bad gameplay. I can understand why you hit Crim 3. Last season, you've got the natural ability to just beam people. Your reaction speeds are pretty good. So yeah, let's cover what we liked about the gameplay. So we can clearly shoot straight. Okay, when we were expecting a gunfight, we're winning a gunfight. And I noticed that a lot for the gunfight, for the moments where you were pre-aiming and an enemy walked into your pre-aim, you were winning those gunfights, which means generally you've got decent shots. You had some really decently long-range gunfights that you won as well, especially from top bridge to P1. So yeah, your shots for the most part are fine. They're iridescent worthy. Okay, I've seen some shaky shots in iridescent before. Trust me, myself, some days as well. Your shots are at the level of iridescent, I think. Your movement is also fine. You understand how to, like, physically, you know how to move in the game. You know how to dive, you know how to slide cancel, you know how to do all the stuff you should do. Your long slides are really nice, like we're seeing here. You could choose when to use it better. So actually your physical movement and your ability to move around the map is fine, but again, it's the brain side of it. It's the thinking of, do I need to use this movement at this point? Am I using movement too much? Am I running around way too quickly? Those are the sort of things we need to be clawing back a little bit there. So yeah, I think you've got the foundations of a solid Eerie player. Like, as I say, your ability to move and shoot is fine. That's not what's holding you back. What seems to be holding you back, and maybe I'm speaking for a few Crimsons out there, what seems to be holding you back is your decision making. When you're taking routes, are they the best routes for you and the gun you're using? Are we using our nades to break kills? Are we, are we just running way too quickly? You've got a sub, fine. It doesn't mean you have to react to every gunfight as and when you see an enemy, okay? Slow it down a little bit. Preempt, like, predict and try and read enemies' positions, and yeah, stop sprinting so much. Trust me, stop sprinting so much. Try and be a little bit more careful when you're pushing in a room where there might be an enemy, even if there's a 50% chance, even if there's a 30% chance there might be an enemy. Just take a second, not even a second, to check that corner, okay? That sort of thing, and you will be ready for considerably more gunfights. And you will then get considerably more kills and more wins, more SR, higher rank into Iridescent. Again, similar with the decision-making thing, we're pushing objectives not necessarily at the best time. There were a couple points in this map where you were pushing P2 with like 15 seconds left rather than keeping the spawn. You pushed into P4 when P1 was about to pop, where you could have just held a really simple cut. Yeah, not sensible decisions. Decisions made by someone who seems to be a little bit frustrated and just wants to just run, sub at the game, which is fine. And it has probably worked in previous games, but in this game it's really gonna cock you up, because this game is a little bit more methodical. It's very much more spawn and team dependent than in previous iterations of COD. So, how do you better your decision making? It's easier for me to say you need to get better decision making. Watch people who use the sub. If you're a sub player, watch a sub player play a map. See how they play. Do they sprint as much as you? And just compare the two gameplays. Even if you watch one after the other, watch this back if you want, of your own VOD, obviously not with me talking over it. And we'll compare it to a sub player that you I don't know. There's Lunchtime is a sub player. Shotzi's a sub player. Havoc's a sub player. All solid sub content creators out there who are at a decent caliber, who are definitely at Iridescent caliber, at least, obviously. To watch them, try and mimic what they do. Are they simply running it down all the time? And I wouldn't necessarily watch their YouTube videos, because a lot of that will just be fun highlights where they've just managed to get away with stuff, and it will be their best gameplay of the day where they've got away with over-eager chows and things like that. But watch their streams, watch the CDL, take on the routes that the CDL players take with the sub, and just mimic it. That's honestly the simplest way to go from Crimson to Iridescent, is to mimic people who are better than you. You've already got the natural talent. You just have to increase the level of your decision making and how you move around the map. And I think you're there. I definitely see you here in Iridescent this game. You just got to keep grinding, but you've just got to try and change the pace up and be willing to just slow it down a little bit. Okay, but yeah, check out some of the gameplays. I've got a couple of sub gameplays on my channel, but it's definitely worth you watching players who are better than you use a sub and see how they maneuver around the map, because that's pretty much what is the Crimson to Iridescent jump. And that's it. I could say a bunch of other things. Your spawns could be a tad better, but I'm not going to focus on that too much. But yeah, work on those things. Hopefully you see an improvement. Yeah, and let me know your thoughts down below for any of you who are also enjoying today's video. That'll do for me. See you in the next one, guys. And yeah, ciao for now.